Good morning and welcome to Rising. Happy Monday. It is another week in Washington, D.C. politics and news, which we're about to discuss. Lindsay, how was your weekend? You went back home and back here again. You're going back and forth so
I live
much.
in Denver. I still kind of live in Denver. But yeah, I wore my green for you so we can bring in some luck. I'm lucky charm over here.
Down the yellow brick road to the Emerald City we go.
So tell us what's on your radar today.
All right, let's get to it. Did Democratic Senator Cory Booker do a Nazi salute while thanking Democratic supporters in California over the weekend? Let me be crystal clear. In my view, he absolutely did not do such a thing. But anyone who is convinced that Elon Musk's hand gesture was a Nazi salute should be applying a similar standard here. Don't hold your breath, of course, for mainstream media to give Booker the same treatment as Musk, however. That's because mainstream media is hopelessly biased and will excuse the actions taken by Booker when they would have crucified a Republican for doing the same thing. I mean, you remember, right? All the outrage over Elon Musk supposedly doing a Nazi salute during Inauguration Day? I sure do. Practically every mainstream liberal commentator, as well as many prominent Democrats, threw absolute fits about this, asserting it was obvious, self-apparent, that Elon Musk's "my heart goes out to you" gesture was secret Nazi code. We endured an entire news cycle about what it means that incoming President Trump's most significant financial backer and advisor is doing the Heil Hitler salute before throngs of supporters. Now, what I said at the time was that this was patently ridiculous. Elon Musk had not done Nazi salute. He made an awkward, jerking display of affection for Trump and for Trump fans. That's what he did. Watch.
Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
I can kind of see how maybe if stripped of all context, you could say it sort of resembled this well-known fascist arm gesture, but by loudly declaring "my heart goes out to you," I think Musk clearly signaled what he was intending. It was a display of warmth and love for all of Trump's supporters who helped make his election possible. And that's how the Anti-Defamation League saw it. They put out a statement saying it was not a Nazi salute. But it's not how mainstream media saw it. They asserted he had performed a Nazi salute. Look at the New York Times, suggesting there was little doubt about its meaning. And of course, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez slammed Musk, accusing him of performing a Nazi gesture. And on and on and on it went. This was wall-to-wall coverage for days. Now, for comparison, here is what Cory Booker did. The clip is real quick, so watch it. Here we go. We're going to play it.
Thank you. Thank you, California.
And you know what? We're actually going to play them side by side. So here's Cory Booker and Elon Musk. Same kind of thing. Looks very similar to me. Again, just to be clear, I do not think Cory Booker was doing a Nazi salute. I don't think Elon Musk is doing a Nazi salute. I think this whole thing is very silly. I think they're just showing appreciation to their supporters. I also think it's weird and frankly conspiratorial to think that there are these secret Nazis in our government just biding their time until they can flash pro-Hitler hand gestures. However, I'm sadly not at all surprised that exactly 0 mainstream publications have accused Booker of being a Nazi for doing the exact same thing as Elon Musk.
Well, what I saw is that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, people specifically said that Musk was doing a Nazi salute, not these publications. So I know there's always an attack on the media, but they did cover it and say, what was Elon Musk doing? I saw many outlets today covering what Musk had to say about Cory Booker. So I think it's the same type of coverage. I believe in consistency across the political spectrum. So we should have outrage or not for both or none. I also do not think either one of them were a Nazi salute. I do think that, when we're comparing the gestures back and forth, then we're losing the real conversation, which is that we're cheapening the history of what's happened in the Holocaust by using these terms every single day. I mean, Gestapo, fascism, Nazi, you're just like Hitler. Like, how many times have we heard this in the last, let's say, 5 years alone? And I think that there are people, you have to remember, there are people that are still alive that have, dire circumstances and consequences that happen to their life because of the Holocaust, and people who are still suffering with what, it remains of their experience from that. And I think every time we talk about it in the news in this way, and not us, I'm saying like when we're covering with such outrage, when Elon Musk does this, when Alexandria AOC does this, it's just like, do you really think that there is some hidden agenda to actually, be just like Hitler in the United States? Because I really believe there's a smarter conversation we can have about which policies you don't like without going to the most extreme degree and kind of just not worrying about who you're offending throughout that whole process.
Oh, exactly. I think it's so tiring to people that it's Nazi this, fascist this, Hitler this, and on and on and on, and it just cheapens our discourse. I think the tone of the media coverage has been a little bit different in the two instances, and I'm always paying close attention to this because I see it all the time. It's almost a kind of cryptography. We had this with the OK hand sign too. Do you remember this?
Yes.
People saying that that's a Nazi gesture. And like, okay, maybe like 2 people on Earth think it and mean it that way.
But the rest of
the
the world.
vast majority of people have no idea what you're talking about. So then you'll put yourself in this very unhealthy for you headspace where then you're projecting onto people ill intent when they have no idea what you're talking about. And you can often, and I think this has to do with to some extent disguising hateful language or inappropriate language that we Lord Voldemort it, you know what I mean? We make it he who must not be named, and we make it sound scarier than it actually is. I think that's true of some of this iconography stuff, like and there's the secret tattoos. It's a tattoo of a cross. It's actually a Nazi tattoo. No, it's probably just a cross tattoo. There's a lot of that makes us mistrustful that the media totally plays into. But to be clear, I think it's a form of waving to your supporters. It's not Hitler doesn't own like raising your hand and pointing it at people. That'd be absurd, right? And why would we want to concede that ground? Why would we want to say, agree that everyone who is doing that is secretly a Nazi? I want to resist that. It's bad.
And I think we all know that the Holocaust is not a metaphor for any political point. But what happens on both Democratic and Republican side is that what exists on social media is echo chambers chambers of people that want to hear and want to prove their points. So if you do look for any signs of Elon Musk being a Nazi, or if you look for Cory Booker being a Nazi, you can find that to be proven falsely on Twitter or X or Instagram. You can find somebody to echo your thoughts because it's just a bunch of people aggregating information that want to hear from each other.
Well, all government and any restriction on my rights whatsoever is fascism. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Both sides can be proven. Exactly. Both sides can find what they're looking for in there. And I think I think part of the problem is where we are today when we talk about politics. We go to certain sources to kind of hear what we're looking to find and search certain things when we're looking to find that information. And so part of what I'm excited about is that there are so many voices to the table, but at the same time when those voices are not vetted, which is why I appreciate real journalism, then we have a lot of conversations in the ethos about people doing like egregious things, and really they're just waving to people that came out in thousands in droves to support them.
Yeah, this is a popular idea that there's a lot of ideological self-reinforcement that is made possible by social media. That
you agree?
I don't know that I actually do agree, because there's a lot of, it's more chaotic and ungate-kept on social media than it was before. I think maybe there was a less wide range of opinions previously that you were allowed to like even have, and so what looks like ideological self-reinforcement now is actually a greater diversity of thought that you didn't used to give, because it was like it was pretend disagreement, the kind that you had on cable news on TV or in newspapers, where it's mostly people, affluent people who all kind of agree, pretending.
Now it's just unhinged, anything goes.
Well, now it's
type
unhinged
of disagreement.
and anything goes. Yes.
Okay.
And some of that is bad. And some of that is, I don't know, sometimes the unhinged crazy people are right about something, so they have a point or they should be listened to.
And sometimes they're conspiracy theorists talking about
but sometimes
politicians being Nazis.
Sometimes the mainstream people are conspiracy theorists too.
Next up, the FBI is investigating what they're calling a terror attack on a group of pro-Israel demonstrators. Stay with us.